Hi, in this video, we'll be looking at how to use SSRS reports with a drop-down parameter list. Now, previously we've run this report and we can essentially see the fields that we have. Just give it a second there. So we have the job title as the field of interest, where we would want to create a drop-down list that makes it possible to select a specific job title for the report. So I'll go back into design mode and recall that we are using the AdventureWorks 2019 database, and I have prepared a script which just selects the job title from the employee table, distinct job titles. So the first step is to copy this query, and the next step is to go into the report and create a new data set. So we right click on the data set and hit add data set. We can give this a name. So we could call this job title _ data and select the data source and paste our query. So once we hit the OK button, our data set has been created. Now we go into the parameters folder, right click, add parameter, and then we give it a name. So we can call this job title, and the prompt, which is the text that we show in front of the parameter name, and give this job title in camel case. So we need to select the data type as text and indicate that we are going to allow multiple values. So once we have ticked the allow multiple values option, we can go into, or we'll uncheck the allow multiple values option for now and come back to that in a bit. And then we'll go into the available values option here. So there are three options. You have none, which is the default. You have specify values, and then you have get values from a query. So this is the option we'll be selecting, get values from a query. And then we have to pick our data set. Remember that we created the job title data set. So we have to specify the value and the label field. Now the value field is what will be passed into the parameter. And sometimes if you have a query with multiple fields, you can specify different value and label fields. But in this case, we just have a single field. So we select that option for both value and label fields. So we come back to general, check that everything is good, and then we click on OK. So now if we go ahead to run the report, we should see the parameter show up with the title that we gave it and a drop-down list showing the different job titles here. Now this doesn't work yet because we haven't bound it to the query. So we have to go back into design view and go to the query, the original data set, and we will introduce a where clause. So we'll say where, I believe that will be e.job title equals at job title. Now remember that we gave our job title a name. It's called job title here, and so we are just referencing the name that we gave the parameter, but by including the @ sign in front of it. So now that we've bound our query to the parameter name. We click on OK. And now if we run the report and select a particular job title, say we pick accountant and we hit the view reports, you'll notice that this time around it fetched only records with someone or people who have the job title of accountant. Now we can change this to pick, let's say, design engineer. We hit view reports and we have 3 design engineers captured here. Now it's also possible to allow multiple values for our drop down list. Notice that here we can only select one value at a time. But what if we wanted to pick an accountant and a sales engineer? So we'd have to enable the multiple selection option. So we go back to design and then we go back to the parameter. Recall that we had that option to allow multiple values, and we hit that and click OK. And so we run the report. Notice that now we have a checkbox beside each job title, and we can select multiple options. So if we wanted to select accounts manager, application specialist, and design engineer, we can do that. But there's just one problem. If we hit the view reports now, we're likely going to get an error because our query does not yet understand how to interpret multiple parameters. So I'll go ahead and click on this. And just like I said, we have an error. And going into the details of the error, we'll see that an error occurred during report processing. It's not recognizing our parameter at job title. So to fix that, we hit the OK button and go back into design view and go back to our query. So notice that we set the where condition to use an equal to sign. So it's expecting a one-to-one match. But if we use the in keyword and put the parameter in parentheses, then it will recognize that we are trying to select multiple items and it should run the report successfully. So we'll give that a try. And again, we want to select multiple options this time. So we'll select accountant, application specialist, role specialist, database administrator. So I've selected 4 options here and I hit the view reports button, and good enough, we have records that capture all of the parameters we selected. So we can see the control specialist, accountant, application specialist, database administrator selected in the record set. So that has been it. We've been able to set our parameter to function as a drop down, and we're also able to use it when we were selecting just a single parameter option and when we are selecting multiple parameter options. Thank you.